Mr. Amitabh Kant has been synonymous with the Niti Aayog. He's been the CEO of the government think tank for the last 6 years. As he ends this part of his very long and distinguished career, we have an opportunity today to sit down with Mr. Kant and hear his thoughts of what the Niti Aayog has achieved in the last 6 years and what its role will be going ahead. Mr. Kant, thank you so much for speaking with us here at ET Now. We've had the pleasure of interviewing you over the last many years and hearing your thoughts on policy, the way forward. Let me begin by asking you what you think were the highlights of your stint at Niti Aayog, the biggest challenges.
Well, I think some of the transformational work done by Niti Aayog was in cutting-edge areas, pushing electric mobility, pushing green hydrogen, getting into production-linked incentives, schemes for pushing manufacturing in India, creating over 10,000 tinkering labs through the Atal Innovation Mission, and I think most importantly, transforming lives of Indians through the aspirational district program. About 112 districts are being transformed through outcomes at the field level, which is really of the population which is equivalent to the size of France and Germany. But more than that, I think Niti Aayog was able to push through outcome-based monitoring and carry out a huge amount of transformational work as far as ease of doing business, decriminalization, a whole range of areas of where it becomes easier for private sector to generate wealth and government to be a policy maker and policy maker with predictability and consistency over a long period of time.
What were the ideas that you spearheaded that didn't really sit well, that didn't really see the light of the day and you think still have potential? Because Niti Aayog has received over this time bouquets as well as brickbats. Sometimes brickbats also for perhaps having ideas which were very visionary but not perhaps focusing enough on the issues and the ground realities of India. So according to you, what were some of those ideas that perhaps have time to see fruition?
I think everything that we tried, everything, the big picture that we pushed around, everything that we were trying to do, whether to push for manufacturing through PLI, which was very large, I mean almost about 3 lakh crores of outlay, and I don't think the government has ever envisaged an outlay of this nature for manufacturing, and pushing for 14 key sectors, or pushing for making India fossil fuel free by 2047 through the green hydrogen mission, or pushing for aspirational district program, or pushing the startup India movement and creating about 70,000 startups and about 101 unicorns. All these are a process of constant innovation, and it's a process of constant improving. So there's a lot of work to be done. We worked a lot on SDGs, on Sustainable Development Goals. We worked on climate change, many of these areas. But there's still a lot of work to be done in several of these areas, improving health outcomes, improving learning outcomes, we did a lot of work around nutrition, but still more needs to be done. And many of these areas, I think if India is to have sustained growth of 9 to 10% over a 3-decade period, these are key areas where the government has to drive, and Niti Aayog will have to be the instrument to do this.
But let me reiterate the ideas that didn't really go through. I know you've been very keen on privatization of railways, railway stations, but that hasn't moved far enough yet. What like that do you think are some of the ideas that didn't land as well as you would have expected?
So we had pushed for asset monetization plan, which was within our realm. We were driving it from here. So the target for last year was 88,000 crores. We surpassed that. We achieved 1 lakh crore. So the asset monetization pipeline was very successful. In the case of disinvestment, we are the recommending authority. We are like the disinvestment board which makes recommendations. So we've made all the recommendations. We've made recommendations not only with regard to the public sector enterprises, we've made recommendations on banks, we've made recommendation on insurance, etc. But the implementation of that has to be done by DIPAM. So I think it would be appropriate if you ask this to the DIPAM secretary, who's very vigorously tried to take several of these initiatives forward, and he's been very, very successful at disinvesting Air India and a few other public sector, but I think many more are in pipeline in the days to come.
All right. Let me talk to you about some very key initiatives, policy initiatives, I think, which you have spearheaded through. One which I can say was quite successful was the electrification of Indian automobiles. Battery swapping is one which still has to see its full form. How far do you think the EV movement has come? And do you see challenges and acceptance because of the recent problems of fires in electric vehicles? Has that dented the faith?
Well, let me first say that fires will not be a detriment at all. These incidents keep happening in combustion vehicles also. Vehicles are recalled. These incidents have happened all over the world. The electric mobility revolution will carry on unabated in a very vigorous manner. The disruption has already been caused by a large number of startups like Ather, Ola, you have Okinawa. All of them have caused major disruption in the electric two-wheeler market. And the electric two-wheeler not only does the total cost of ownership, but the initial cost of ownership today with the FAME subsidy is cheaper than combustion vehicle. The charging has spread far and wide, and therefore I think that in two-wheelers and three-wheelers, India has really moved vigorously forward. We've been able to push the limits on electric mobility. We've also recently floated this tender for 5,450 buses, on which the price we got was lower than combustion vehicles, and I'm quite sure that in the long term you'll see much greater movement on electric buses as well. Our ambition is to have the next tender of 50,000 buses and put in this conditionality of Make in India, so that all these buses are also made in India. I am very confident that the four-wheeler segment will also grow and progress, and those who do not move towards electric mobility will lose market share. So the future, to my mind, is shared, connected and electric. In the long distance transport only, there will be the challenge of whether the future will be green hydrogen, or as the prices of green hydrogen fall over the period of from 2026 to 30. But in the initial course, the market is only going to be electric, let me assure you.
I want to also talk about the whole startup ecosystem. We've been celebrating the large number of unicorns that India has been producing. You've been spearheading, the policy push that startups have also got. But today, Mr. Kant, startups are perhaps facing their largest challenge yet, to the extent where people are wondering whether there was a sound business model in the first place, or was it just the availability of easy money which buoyed the whole system ahead. How do you see the future of startups in India developing? Are you worried when you see the large number of layoffs being reported and hitting the headlines almost every other day?
So when we started the startup movement, there were just about 100 odd startups. Today there are 71,000 startups. There are over about 101 unicorns. A huge amount of disruption has been caused by them in many areas of growth, from mobility to edtech to agri-tech. Many of these areas, many of them are solving the challenges of India. Now, there will be challenges of liquidity. All of them will have to grow and create good business models. All of them will have to manage their finances in a very professional manner. All of them will have to get good talent. And only those will survive, grow and flourish who work like professional companies. And therefore, while easy money may be available now, the important thing is that all of them must work like professional businesses. They must grow and evolve into top-class companies. And that is what many of our startups are doing right now. And I'm quite sure that this startup movement now, which has become the third best ecosystem in the world, will continue to grow, will continue to prosper, will generate a vast number of jobs. They will continue to disrupt innovation. They will the ones who drive India forward in terms of technology. And the startup movement, there may be some down sometimes, but in the long run, India will be a land of great innovators. India will be a land of great technology. India will be a land of people who produce for the world.
What next for the Niti Aayog, Mr. Kant? This has been a baby that you've nurtured for the last 6 years. It will be in the very able hands of Mr. Param Iyer now. What would you hope to see in terms of its contribution to India's development?
Well, my belief is that my successor will find his own route. I've always believed that Niti should do transformative work. It must do cutting edge work. It must be the biggest driver of technological change. It must look at the best technologies across the world. It must look at what are the changes that are impacting the world and the huge amount that's happening. The global supply chains are in disruption. There's the Russia-Ukraine war. Global value chains have got impacted, and there's inflation rearing its head. So all these are, and there's also the climate change issue. And so while these are challenges, they are also huge opportunities. This is an opportunity for manufacturing. This is an opportunity to technologically leapfrog into sustainable areas of growth. This is an opportunity to go digital. So all these are areas of huge, huge growth. And therefore, my view is that Niti must be transformative in its character. It's the national institution for transforming India, and it must live up to its title of transforming India.
What about you, Mr. Kant? What are your plans up ahead? It's unlikely you will be hanging up your boots, but maybe a quick vacation first?
No, I will just relax and chill out. I will read, write. I will come out with a book shortly, and based on my experiences, and I will continue to do innovative things, and I'll reinvent myself. I will do a whole range of innovative tasks in my life. So you will see me mentoring startups. You will see me teaching at universities. You will see me doing a lot of interesting work. My life has just begun.
Wow, we're looking forward to seeing what's next. Mr. Kant, thank you so much for speaking with us today, and thank you for always providing your insights over all of this time in your position as CEO of Niti Aayog.
Thank you, Tamanna. It's always been a pleasure speaking to you. Such wonderful.